If you want to stay in the same situation, then continue doing what you're doing.
And you guys can get on board and go down this 4-lane highway and just rock it out, and you don't have to have a decade of learning process.
Meet people where they are. If you want to have all types of clients, be a Rubik's Cube. Meet them where they want to be met.
We have to know our numbers. We have to know how much we want, and then how many deals do I have to close to make that a reality?
What I want to do over the next half hour or so is give you clarity on the items that really are going to generate money for you and allow you to do the things you want to do.
So if you're not currently being coached by the people in the industry that are doing it at the highest level, then you're working too hard to get there.
This is the Next Level Loan Officers Podcast with Kenneth Travis and Sean Zalmanoff.
Hello, everybody. Sean Zalmanoff here with this episode of Next Level Loan Officers Podcast. Here with one of my partners, Shane Kidwell. Shane, how are you today?
What's up, Sean?
What's up, man? You're looking good there in sunny Seattle, man. You know it's the summertime in Seattle if there's sun shining through that window, huh?
I just wanna point out that the beards are in full effect today.
Yes, they are. So we are joined by an awesome producer. Shane, you were talking earlier about one of the things you loved most when you started in the business was anytime you could rub elbows or get a little info from a high producer. And Rick, thank you very much for joining us. So Rick has been in the business since 2002. We entered in exactly the same year. And Rick has funded over $1 billion in loans in his career. More impressively, that's $500 million in the last 8 years. And even more impressively than that, Rick, the 100 million threshold is going to be broken for you this year, right?
Man, I'm confident. We're working towards it. It's a knife fight out there, but we're excited, and we just actually added another teammate as well. So we're gearing up for it, and it's all about conversion, right?
So you're doing this. You mentioned you just added another teammate. What does your team look like? Describe that to us, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got Pam Silver on my team. She has been with me for 5 years. She is really my jack of all trades. She can sell, she can manage, she can process, she can manage the pipeline. And she's just a valuable player on all aspects and jumps in wherever she needs. We also have a sales assistant, Nick, as well. I've got a dedicated processor, Melissa. I've just hired another loan officer on my team who's going to help with all the leads gens that's coming in. I mean, we've actually hit a point where we've got too many leads than we know how to convert them. So it's going to be really good to get Erin up to speed and start to march towards that $100 million mark.
So I know that there's a lot of loan officers who are listening right now who would love to have a too many lead problem.
Yeah, I was going to say, Rick, I'm pretty sure you don't have a problem because we got about 1,000 people that'll be on this podcast who would be more than willing to take those leads off your hands.
Yeah, no, listen, again, I'm fortunate, blessed that, we've done a ton really over the last 2 years with our referral partners and really bulletproofing our relationships with them. The hearing you're as good as your last deal, I just cringe. I mean, you guys have all heard it, right? But we've really taken a lot of steps to make sure that, man, I just need that agent to not know how to do business without me. And when you start with that mindset and start working towards it, then, you just become the guy. And, you have to back up, what you're talking about, but it's really being, toe to toe, belly to belly with these real estate agents and referral partners that are going to solidify that relationship. Now, by getting Erin in here, it's going to allow me to not be tied to my desk all the time, to continue to repeat, right? And get out to more agents, create those relationships, and then work on bulletproofing them. So that's kind of where we're at. And man, like I said, I'm fortunate that we're in the position that we're in.
Rick, how much of your business would you say comes in from these these referral partners that you mentioned?
Yeah, so I'm about 35% on the real estate agent part. Luckily and thankfully, past clients is a really big percentage of that business that comes back to us. And through my annual review process, I'm able to send out anywhere between 10 to 25 referrals a month to CPAs, financial planners, estate planners, and insurance agents. So they also become a big amount of business coming back to me because I'm able to have a lot more than just one or two because of how many leads I'm able to give back to them. So, so again, that really fills in that third sector.
Rick, tell us a little bit about your annual review process, because I think that a lot of loan officers have a database and a lot of loan officers don't have any idea what to actually do with that database. And it sounds like you have a little gold mine there.
I think most loan officers do a centennial review.
Right. Well, you got to ask the question why. Why do loan officers have this nugget, right? This database of all people that have used them. What's in their brain that doesn't allow them to pick up that phone and give them a call? What's some thoughts?
What are they going to think about me? They get so much surface confusion going on other places. They don't know what to say when they call.
Yeah.
Or they're scared. I think a lot of times too, for being honest, most people are scared that they don't really have any value to add because they look at it like, well, I'm really calling because I want a referral or I want a deal. Yep. And so they call from the mindset of taking, not giving.
You know, this reminds me of a story. So I know there's a lot of loan officers listening who, you know, you're in less than year 5 of your career. And so I started, there was a refi boom that happened for longer than a decade. And I remember doing a couple loans for my friend's parents, and I mean, rates dropped a whole bunch more. And I was afraid to like pick up the phone and call them and like tell them I could save them another point on the rate. And I remember being at a dinner with my buddy, and some of his family were there, and we were, you know, his mom's asking me about interest rates, and she's like, "You could save me a point? Like, why haven't you called me to tell me?" And again, I was scared to ask for the business. I mean, even though I was providing value and, you know, could save him a bunch of money, and I just didn't pick up the phone and ask.
Yeah. And so what you guys said from all different accounts is the reason why people have that call reluctancy. So what, and by the way, I have it too. Did that transaction go well? Like, did they like, you know, was it, you know, was it a success? They don't want to talk to me. You know, did they refinance with someone else? Like all of that stuff goes into your brain. And so what I've done is I've created a system that takes all of that out of it. And so it's a really easy system. And what we do is it's a 3-step process. What I do is I actually, by the way, I don't do any of it. Nick does it. So every month he'll come in and he will pull everybody that's closed in the month of July in my pipeline. And I'll go through it and I'll look, and Pam has a better memory than I do. She'll go through it. Who do we not want to talk to, right? How do I know that person was just not a good client? But go through and we scrub it. Then we put it in and we do what's called a mail merge with an Outlook. I'm not sure if anybody knows you can actually do that, where you can, you know, put their name in there, put their name throughout the email, and send a one-off email just by pressing a button. So Nick will set that up, and an email will go out such as this: "Congratulations, it's your anniversary." Now, again, it could be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, doesn't matter. It's your anniversary. It's your anniversary, and with all of the economic climate and the political climate that we've got right now, it's really important that we spend 10 minutes on the phone talking through your situation, and me giving you a quick market update on what's going on in the process. And I've got 4 really important questions to ask you at the end. So click this link, which is my email, my calendar, my online calendar. Click this link and book a time that works for you, but really it works for me, right? Because it's my link. Book a time that works for you, and I promise you it will be a valuable 10-minute phone call. I look forward to catching up. So that's the first email that goes out. And I would say we get about a 20% capture rate on that, 15 to 20% capture rate. And then 2 days later, a slide broadcast goes out. So for anybody that don't know what a slide broadcast is, it's the ability to put people's cell phone numbers inside a database, create one voicemail, and send it out to everybody. So it goes something like this: "Hey, it's Rick Scherer. Sent you an email a couple of days ago. It may have gone into your spam folder. If you could go find it. It's a 15-minute interview call. It's really important that we talk. Even though if you think you're in great shape with your mortgage, it's still a worthwhile call. Go click on the link, book a time." We get another 10 or 15% out of that. And then 3 days after that, another email goes out and going, hey, would love to connect, send me, click the link, book a time when you can. And a couple more from there. So at the end of the day, I usually average between 30 and 50 phone calls a month. And here's the point here. I just took away, do they want to talk to me? And if I call them, am I bothering them? All of those reluctance, the heavy phone issues that we all have, right, to pick up the call. I've now pushed them the link. They're proactively linking, calling and booking a time, and they're calling me at the time for the interview call. So now, by the way, I've done none of this. I've set up the call once. The emails are already all canned. Nick is handling everything. And now I'm just showing up and looking at my calendar, knowing who am I going to talk to that day. So that's how I'm getting the phone to ring.
Man, I love that from a couple perspectives. One, I like that, like a couple things that like it's really important for the audience to take note here is that there's a team involved. Because if you had to rely on yourself to do all of that, I would assume if you're like me, it wouldn't happen every month because you have other things going on. Like LOs, we get the squirrel mentality. We always want to be building something bigger, better. But the consistency of having the team do that every month, think about how powerful that is, having 50 conversations every month. I'm not great at math. That's like 600 people a year. And you're right, they want to talk to you. And that's what's so important is, so then my second thought was, I like that you use something that's scalable. Using that calendar app. And guys and gals, if you don't have a calendar app, like it's one of the easiest, simplest, least expensive ways of managing your business. I say the exact same thing you do. Hey, Rick, hey, Sean, here's a link to my calendar. Sign up for a time that works for you. Right. Unbeknownst to them, it works for me. But I love that, man. I think that's a huge tool that if people don't have that, they absolutely need to get one.
It's turning your business from reactive to proactive. That was the single best. And it's funny, my business partner here, he bucked it for about a year. I got on the train a little earlier than him. And within a week, he said to me, how come you didn't continue, bug me earlier to do this? He's like, it transforms his business and transforms everybody's business where you're just not being reactive to phone calls coming in. Like I could be like literally on Facebook and the call could come in and my assistant is booking a time within the calendar and then they're calling, in when their scheduled time is.
So is the 4 magic questions that you give them at the end, what value do you create for them after the call? And is there just an interview process, a format you're following during that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I always set the stage up in the very beginning. Hey, Mr. Johnson. Hey, so thank you so much for calling. I promise you it will be a 10, 15 minute call. And here's what I want to get out of this call. Today, we want to talk to you about your current situation. How you and the kids are doing, how the house is doing. We're going to talk about your current mortgage situation. And then I got 4 questions at the end that I'm going to ask if that's okay. Does that work for you, Mr. Johnson? Yeah, great. Perfect. All right. So how are they doing? How's the family? This is where you uncover any marriages, any divorces, any adoptions, any new babies growing out of the property, that type of thing. Then we talk about the property, like, hey, how is it working for you? Like you've been in it for a year or 3 years. How's the kitchen, the bath? Have you thought about, doing any updating? So really understanding about the house and what's going on there. Then we get into, okay, great. In my records, I see that you've got a 4% interest rate. Well, geez, or 4.25% interest rate. Let's use that for example. 4.25% interest rate. And man, you're in great shape. However, you just said to me a couple minutes ago that you're looking to borrow about $120,000 to redo the kitchen and the bath. One option is you can do a home equity line of credit, but geez, we're in a raising rate environment. Or what we might want to do is maybe a cash out refinance and lock everything at 4.5%. And that way you just, you're locking everything down in a nice 30-year fixed rate. I can show you the numbers if you want to. Or great, you're at 3.75. You're in perfect shape, Mr. Johnson. You're great. So that's one of the things that you just said is going into it with like a reason to sell them or something to get out of it. When you go in with that mindset, you're going to fail. So when you go out just with, I'm here to help, I want to check in with you, I care about you, giving you some updates on rates and where the rates are, and nothing makes me feel better being like, dude, you're at 3.25%. We hit the bottom with you. You're awesome. You're in great shape. It feels great. And the 4 questions is, hey, I always like to find out how the people in your life the advisors in your life are doing for you. And so, Mr. Johnson, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the best, how would you rate your CPA today? And you say you get a 10, you get a 6, you get I don't have one, right? You get one of those areas. And then I move on to the next one. How is your financial planner? And let them speak. How is your estate planning situation? You just told me about, Johnny and Susie and, this brand beautiful house. Do you have some protection there? And then how's your insurance, property, casualty, life, that type of thing. And you get information out of this. And it could be that they're all 10s, which again is great, because what are you as a loan officer looking to do?
Have more 10s.
Have more 10s in your life, right? When you hear anything less than an 8, well, geez, man, I work with 10s. And I'll tell you, based on what you said to me, I think you and Dimitri would hit it off perfectly. And allow me to make an introduction for just a call, just a 15-minute call with them. See if there's an alignment there, because I'll tell you, if you're not working with a 10, there's no reason. There's plenty of 10s out there. So if you're going to settle with a 6, don't do that for yourself. And so again, I would say 60, 70% of the time I get to refer at least one. 40% of the time I get to refer all 4. So that's where I'm uncovering all of this context to be able to send it out to these people. And I'll tell you, some of my top 8 of my financial planners are like, Rick, I got to refinance my house to a higher rate just to pay you back. This is, I've gotten 4 this month, and other loan officers maybe give me 1 a year. They don't know how to do it. So it's just uncovering that context, which is pretty big.
And if you're a loan officer listening to this, we're going to provide some more value. But if there's one thing that you want to take away from this call and implement right now, Rick, what a fantastic share. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course, man.
So what other technology do you use in your business that lets you have some of the freedom you do and focus on the money-making activities that you've really nailed down?
Yeah. So, one thing that we use as a team, and Rich, my business partner, uses on his team is I guess it's CRM called Pipedrive. Pipedrive. Are you guys familiar with Pipedrive at all?
Oh, yeah. Well.
Okay. All right. So, really it's just a way to track every single lead that comes in the door and what happens with that lead, because it could be me one day and Pam the next day, speaking with them, keeping notes, knowing where they're on the process, what they were pre-approved for, all of those sort of things. So Pipedrive, and when I'm, on the road, if I need a phone number, it's got an app, I can jump in there, I can figure, or if I'm about to go meet with a real estate agent, and I need an update on kind of what's going on with their file or the client's file, I can jump in there. So Pipedrive is a pretty big one for us. Internally, we use Flowify. Flowify, you guys familiar with that as well?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Flowify is just really great for milestone updates and uploading documents. So man, that's just a couple of things that we're using on our end.
Rick, what do you think? So first off, Sean, this guy sounds like a brother from a different mother. Man, he's like the same technology. It's funny. Like you get in a room with like-minded people and you realize that you're using the same hammers and nails, right?
Yeah.
Just in a slightly different way. When you started out, obviously, we don't all start out like Sean doing 100 million our first year. When you started, what would you say, knowing what you know now, what would be one thing that you would go back and tell the Rick of 15 years ago to do differently in your business, if anything?
Yeah, I would say you always got to add value to whoever you're speaking to. Again, I used to be that loan officer 15, 16 years ago. But I've got great rates and I got great process and, oh gosh, I've got all the products, and those are the 3 words. And I would say that every real estate agent hears probably twice a week.
Oh, and we'll close on time too.
Oh yeah, because you're supposed to. What do you mean close?
That's like an oil change shop telling you they'll change your oil. It's that's kind of the point of me being here.
Is that a starter, right?
Yeah.
So, man, I'm a big Gary Vee fan, and I'm a big I love jab, right hook. And so it's always 51-49, right? Always giving more value than you expect to receive. And that's really how I've bulletproofed my relationship with my real estate partners, because what I do is I add way more value to them than the guy that's saying my rates are great and my product is awesome and I'll close, 21 days and and by the way, we all do it. Like, you can all do it. So how do you differentiate yourself? How do you move your relationship with a real estate agent from casual to committed? And how do you be transformational with them? And how can you actually get into their business and help them do more of it? And not because you just did a great job with their borrower. Like, get that out of your head. Like, oh, I can't give you any referrals, but I'll do a really great job. Like, guys, it's done. You can't stop with that, because it doesn't matter, because you should be doing that anyway. And you should be figuring out what is going on in that real estate agent's business that you can be a part of and help them fix so that they can do more business. Or, how do you how do you just entwine yourself with a real estate agent? And it's by figuring out how you can add more value than the next guy. And so if I could have learned that 16 years ago.
So drop the mic, walk away. I mean, I love that. Sean and I, and like next level, like we're all about adding value. And like one thing that Sean will say probably on the daily is dollars follow value. And if you add, like, if you're just overwhelming people with value, legitimate. And like, that's the big thing too. Like, giving somebody a good rate is not really adding value. That is a standard, right? Mm-hmm. That is not the excellent, that is the average. And so I think, to your point, like going above and beyond and creating systems and techniques and technologies and products where you're actually adding honest, legitimate value is huge.
Yeah. There's nothing like it.
So you've actually yourself are taking this part of your business to the next level. You said you're rolling out something called Aspire, Rick.
Yeah, it's myself and my partner and another great guy in the industry who's a coach, Mark Manieri. We've done all of these things. We've created these systems that allow us to go with the real estate agent and really provide that value and intertwine with them. We realized a couple of years ago that real estate agents did two things poorly. The first thing is they didn't have a whole breakdown of the process from pre-approval to post-closing and everything in between, right? You got those real estate agents that got, a flyer for 3 or 4 pieces of paper together. Some are Xerox sideways, they're just been around for a while. And so we know that they didn't really have that ability to take that buyer from beginning to end. The other thing that we noticed is they're really bad at leveraging that buyer to get more business, because the hard part is getting the buyer, right? And the way that real estate agents are trained nowadays is go cold call expireds, go door knock. What are the 2 things that people hate the most? Is people calling them on the phone unexpectedly and knocking on their door. My wife's doing the army crawl when that thing rings and she's not expecting who's at the door. So, what we're trying to do is teach real estate agents how to stop looking for the fish and spend just as much time as looking for the fisherman, the people out in their world that come in contact with buyers and sellers all the time, but they don't know how to refer them to a real estate agent. And so, we created this thing called the Real Estate Buyer's Playbook. And, it's a 55-page book for every single state that walks them through the whole process that a loan officer is the gatekeeper of. And so the loan officer will take this to a real estate agent and say, hey, I really want to add value to your business, and I want to co-market with this book with you. And you're going to give it to all your buyers, and they're going to have like the best process, everything spelled out for them, walking them through, taking the anxiety out of the transaction. It's just going to be from soup to nuts. But that's only 25% of the value. Really, the 75% of the value is I'm going to help you, the loan officer talking to the real estate agent. I'm going to help you add 10 to 15 to 20 vendors in the book that will all commit to sending you business because you're going to send them business. Is that interesting to you, Mr. Real Estate Agent? Yeah. Like an extra 15 people sending me business? Yeah, that's great. And so what we do is we coach the loan officers on how to show the real estate agent how to go have powerful conversations with CPAs. Mr. CPA, hey, I would love to refer you to the 20 buyers that I see this year. And I don't want anything from it. I don't want money from it. I just want 50 of your business cards. And I would like your commitment to think of me every time you hear the word real estate. Mr. CPA, is that something you can do for me? yeah, of course. You're going to send me 20 or 30 buyers. I'll absolutely think of you every time you hear the word real estate. Well, great. Because I'm going to put you in the book. I'm going to refer you to all those people. And, but here's the funny part. And I'll tell you this quick story. Linda Mossman, she's a real estate agent of mine. I showed her the playbook about a year and a half ago. And she said, you know what? My CPA is going to love this. I've sent him 10 deals in the last 5 years. Man, he hasn't sent me any business back, but he's going to love this. So she sits down with him, shows him the book. He's just like, yeah, I'm in. And she's like, hey, I just, want to make sure that you'll think of me every time you hear real estate. And he said, oh, I didn't tell you my wife is actually a real estate agent. Like I got to give her the business if I want to sleep in the big boy bed. But what Linda realized through that conversation is she was never getting a business back from this. Those 10 deals that she sent just fell down the hole, right? Black hole. And so it's loan officers teaching the real estate agents how to move their relationships from casual to committed. And at the same time, the loan officer is moving their relationship. So that's just one of the playbooks. I'll show you the playbook. It's right here. I don't know the best way to do this, but so it's just all about the real estate agent, co-branded, and then literally the whole buying process, everything in between that really a buyer takes them through the process from beginning to end. So,
Rick, you said something early on in the conversation about so many times a loan officer is only as good as their last deal. And every single thing that we've talked about today, creating value for our clients by having a meaningful conversation with them once a year, doing a review, showing your realtors how to better present themselves, showing your realtors how to get more referrals. As great as all of us are, as great as all of our companies are, inputs equal outputs. And sometimes, the inputs get crossed and something happens bad on the loan. I don't think anybody can sit here and say that every loan that we are going to do this year and for every year throughout the rest of our lives is going to go perfectly. There's going to be one of those oh crap moments.
Right.
And this is the difference when you create value, that your realtor's like, well, you know what? The other 70 deals we've closed in the last 3 years have gone off just fine. Oh, well, I still value you and I appreciate everything you do for me. We'll move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that separates what us as loan officers, really understanding that we're the prize. We bring the value, and the realtors are really important, but we don't need to walk on those eggshells around them when we're really good and we bring the heat. Shane, your partners.
I agree with you so much, Sean. What's so interesting is I think what we've all kind of talked about on this call was one, add value. Two, don't be afraid to not have a conversation. No conversation that you don't have will ever go well. And the big thing that what we talked about is Rick does the calls. Rick has the conversations. He's in front of his agents adding value. And if you never get off the bench, you'll never have an opportunity to hit the game-winning shot. You got to take that shot. And I think what's so cool about it is Rick's got a unique, customizable, I like to use the word proprietary, like rates, fees, speed is not proprietary, but having something that's proprietary that's specific to you does add value. And that's something that's really market proof. So Rick, I appreciate your time, man. It was super valuable for me. I actually was taking notes, and there's a couple things again, man, you can always learn from somebody no matter where you are in your business. And man, we're not doing a good enough job on our annual calls. And a couple of the things you said were powerful for me, powerful for our team. So man, I really appreciate your time.
Hey, Rick, if someone wanted to get a hold of you, how would they do that?
Email is rick@msamortgage.com. So rick@msamortgage.com. And if you guys don't mind, I'd love to just, we're looking for a couple more ambassadors. The playbook is state by state, right? So we've got a bunch of the states that we need playbooks help in for people that are in the Midwest and things like that. The website is
states, man. You got a problem with the Midwest?
No, man, I need your help is what I need. But realestatebuyersplaybook.com. There's some information around the playbook, and there's a contact us. So if anybody out there is the concept resonates with them, and you want to be part of the ambassadorship with Aspire, we'd welcome a conversation and see if that is there. One last thing I wanted to add, and just to kind of piggyback off what you guys were saying, is when you can be masterful in that and providing that value, the good news is you can cherry pick the people that you want to work with. Right? It's playing the depth game as opposed to the width game, right? So all loan officers want to work with as many agents as they can because they just need those deals coming in. But when you can transform your business from going from the width game to going, hey, I'm going to spend a lot of time with these 15 and I don't care about these 40, that will actually make your business go way up. You work with people that you want to. And when you can actually provide that value, then you don't need to work with every single agent out there that's not going to have your back when the deal goes sideways, right? They're going to have your back 100% because of the partnership that you guys have created with each other. And man, that's just how you make a bulletproof relationship with your real estate partners.
You know, I'm from the Midwest and I like to fish. So if I'm picking a pond to go into, I like to have a nice still pond that's really clear versus a murky swamp that I'm fishing in, because I can just go and cast my line right over to where I see the fish. And that's exactly what this is talking about, being able to pick and choose who you want to work with, where you want to cast your rod. And that's the difference, man. If you have a realtor who does treat you, you know, only as good as the last deal, man, they only have one opportunity to do that, because we're not going to work with them again because there's somebody else that I can create value for.
100%.
Well said.
So we appreciate you all joining us on our Next Level Loan Officers podcast. Please reach out to us if you're interested in learning how to take your business to the next level, and sign up for a free strategy call. See y'all later.
You guys are great. Thank you.